From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode, Violet T. Lewis opened a business school to train black secretaries in downtown Indianapolis. She also owned a variety of successful small businesses and would go on to open the Lewis College of Business. Her legacy lives on today.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
POC Detroit is probably the only design-focused historically black college in the U.S. And so it was important for us to reopen a college that was actually originally founded here in Indianapolis in 1928. By an amazing woman by the name of Dr. Violet T. Lewis. She opened a college called Lewis Business College with the simple idea of how do you empower black women to become secretaries in corporations. And this is in the late 20s. And she felt it was important to teach these women the secretarial skills they needed to have other employment opportunities. It did extremely well here in the city, so well that the city of Detroit asked her to open a second location in 1939, and she repeated history that she did here, where some of the first black office employees for like Michigan Bell and GM and Ford were all graduates of, at that time called Lewis College of Business. I was made aware of the college in 2021 by a former alumnus who lives in Detroit. I had my own design academy in Portland, Oregon, after retiring from being in the footwear industry for a few decades. Opened my own design academy called Pencil, and that was really the first design school really in the world that taught footwear design. And so we also paused in 2020 because of obviously everything else pausing in 2020. And so when I was made aware of Lewis College, I had the idea of merging, what I'm doing as a design academy in Portland with this HBCU and being able to combine what we do really well with what the school formerly used to do really well and merging it and reopening it as a business and design school.
I am Dr. Violet Elizabeth Ponders. My name comes from both my grandmother, whose first name was Violet, and her sister, whose name was Elizabeth. They were both educators. They both lived in Indianapolis for a long period of time. And they're very special to me. And I am proud, very proud, to carry both names. My grandmother, when she left Wilberforce University, she went to Selma, Alabama, to the university there, and she started a business program there. She wrote the curriculum, she did all of those kinds of things. She came back to Indiana, first to work for Madam C.J. Walker, and then slowly she developed her own business. She was one of these that saw something and it just stayed with her. And finally her mother said, either you gonna do something about this or you gonna stop talking about it. My great-grandmother was very colorful, so the language was just a tad bit different. She ended up starting the college. First, I wanna say it was on Vermont Street. It was a storefront. She only had a couple of students. She didn't have any evening students. So she made her sister, Elizabeth, sit in the window. So it looked like she had students in the late afternoon, early evening. She was very creative. I don't know anybody who would have started a business in January of 1928, but she did. She ended up moving the business into her home on 28th Street. Thankfully, she had a father who was a master carpenter, so he transformed her house into her house and the college. When she had enough money to move it moved back to Indiana Avenue, and it continued there until she closed it. She ended up closing the Indianapolis operation because she had also started a college in Detroit in 1939. The Detroit College, of course, Detroit's a larger city, so it grew much faster, and she couldn't do the back and forth. She was an entrepreneur. She had everything from a peanut shop, and when she was cooking the peanuts, she made sure that the exhaust went out on the main street to draw people in. She had a business where she did things like printing and things like that. So she was all about making her students experts at what they did, using what she had around. She used the students in the store. She used the students to create these print materials. She used the students all the time. She's not only the founder of Lewis Business College, she's also my grandmother. And she switched between these roles depending on where we were. So we could be having a very grandmother-daughter granddaughter conversation, and she would get to a certain place in the stairwell. Her business was in her home, even here in Detroit. She would get to a certain place in the stairwell. The dog would lay across this, and once she crossed the dog, she was in business mode, and the conversation changed. I think more importantly, she was interested in changing the lives of people. Because as she changed the lives of these women, she changed the lives of their families.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities Podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunity Show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.